is my baked chicken and peach chutney recipe. So I have picked some fresh peaches from an orchard that is right down the road, like local orchard, and it calls for 5 cups, but you can use as many as you want. I have a pan here. I've got some lemon. I've got some red onion that I'm going to chop up, and I actually like to pair this with a rosé wine, a very light wine. So this is a very, very light summertime dish that I am just going to start cutting the peaches. And the easiest way is just to go down to the center and then twist. And as you can see, you have sort of deep pitted your peach, and then boom, out comes the seed. And you can put that aside if you want to plant it or whatever, you can do that as well. But then I just start cutting up my peaches. I'm really dicing them, and then I'm just tossing them into the pan. And I cut away any bad spots or any bruising that you have, and yeah, cutting up my peaches. And this also goes great with a light fish dish, or a pork dish if you want to get a nice pork tenderloin, and make this chutney as like a little dipping sauce kind of thing. Amazing. I mean, it's just a great peach sort of salsa, dipping sauce, you know, baking it with chicken, whatever you want to do. I'm actually baking the chicken now, so I'm not going to bake this with the chicken. This is going to basically be like a topping over it afterwards. Overwards? That's a new word. So we are just going to put that all in here. Nice. And I mean, these are just the perfect peaches, basically. Like, they're just super fresh. They're perfect at the orchard right now. They are just definitely in season. It is July, like mid-July, and they're just absolutely fresh, super fresh and sweet right now. And it's just the perfect time to go for peaches. So always check like your local, you know, farmers and farmers markets and what's available and is fresh for the season. And it's just amazing. I mean, those are the most perfect peaches ever. Better than anything you'll find in the grocery store, for sure. And I was able to get about 10 pounds of peaches for about $6. So, you know, the price, you just cannot beat that price either. It's just super fresh. You know, there's no chemicals, no enhancements, no nothing. And it's just fresh and local. And I'm supporting a local farmer too, which I love. And again, just very roughly dice them. You don't have to be too specific about it. There's no blending or kind of pureeing with this recipe. It's just, you know, super, super simple. And that looks about good, you know, whatever size pot you have. And then I'm just gonna kind of plant these and see what happens. Now I'm going to add in a little bit of sugar. I'm not going to do a lot because I don't want this to be too caramelized. It does call for brown sugar. I've opted for white sugar, so just the regular basic white sugar. And now I am just going to, final ingredient, I'm going to add in my onions. So I just cut my onions, and I'm basically dicing these pretty fine because I don't want these huge chunks. I want, you know, want it to be nice and diced. To add that to my pan, and that's a pretty good amount of onions. So basically that's what it looks like. Then we are going to put it on boil on the stovetop, and we're going to boil that, and I'm going to mash this up. So I'll show you that. I'm basically just mashing up very lightly. I'm not being too hardcore with this. I'm just kind of mixing around all these ingredients, getting that nice juice, kind of stirring in that sugar, you know, and that mixture. So I'm bringing this to a boil. As you can see, it's definitely getting like nice and soft. Those peaches are just getting nice and caramelized with that sugar and everything else. Then I'm just going to move it off that burner and go ahead and let it cool for just a little bit. And I'm going to put the, well, I'm going to keep the lid off actually, and just let it cool down. Now that we've got this all nice and mushy, it's kind of, you know, definitely cooled down a little bit. I want to go in with some fresh cilantro, and I'm just going to sprinkle that around. And there you have a beautiful peach chutney. And I have just baked some chicken breasts. I only did 3. You know, I'm single, so I don't need to do a huge platter. I just took it out, but I always want to season my chicken before you put it in. So always just add salt and pepper and olive oil to your pan and just season it before it goes in. And then, so this is how I plate the chicken. So this is how I plate the chicken. I basically have the chicken cubes, and then I go in with a nice helping of the chutney. And I'm just gonna sprinkle that on and kind of into the plate. And then I'm gonna add some basil. This is fresh basil that I planted, and it is literally the super freshest, just most intoxicating, great fresh peach chutney over baked chicken, a recipe ever. It's just something so simple that you can do with just a few ingredients, but just fresh picked peaches, fresh basil, you know, fresh onions, fresh cilantro, things like that. Just great herbs and spices that just makes an amazing, amazing dish. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this recipe, and I love you guys, and I will see you in my next video.